Coming up on this hour of Chris 6 Sunrise, 2 instructors are accused of assaulting and touching students. We're going to tell you where the instructors worked and what charges they're facing.
And here's a look at what other stories we're covering in your neighborhood.
We've heard from the officials, but what about the residents?
And to the people that are here, I wish there was an easy solution.
I'm Adam Beam in Beeville, looking at how neighbors are responding to new water woes.
A growing number of Texas families are keeping a close eye on the Texas ballot. I'm Michaela Chavez, and I'll tell you about an item that's aiming to help those touched by dementia.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Chris 6 Sunrise. Thank you so much for waking up with the Hoffmans. I'm Michelle Hoffman.
And I'm Brian Hoffman. You know, it is a Thursday. This week has just flown on by. Friday Junior, as I like to call it. Don't get at me in the DMs, though. I know, it's Thursday.
We know.
Well, hey, to make sure that the weekend weather is looking all right, let's check in with meteorologist Stephen Jones. How you doing, Stephen?
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Doing pretty good today. How about you guys? Doing pretty well?
And wait for it. Fantastic.
There you go. There you go. I mean, looking like a pretty great Thursday, you know, just shaping up. Didn't feel too bad stepping out the door this morning, not too humid. But of course, getting a look at some of our roadways out there, looking pretty nice and green across most of the coastal bend and Corpus Christi. Getting a more in-depth look here at the Harbor Bridge to and from Portland. Good and green both ways, whichever direction you're heading here in town. Some of our major roadways, Ocean Drive looking good. No major slowdowns there, nor for SPID or Saratoga. And if you're taking the Crosstown Expressway, also looking good and green heading out the door this morning. A little bit closer to the island over towards Flower Bluff here on Flower Bluff Drive as well as Waldron Road. Both sitting pretty good. We just have that minor slowdown as you're heading towards the gate at Naval Air Station Corpus Christi, so keep that in mind. The Causeway also looking pretty good. Getting a good look at some of those drive times. 22 minutes from downtown to the island. Portland to downtown sitting around that 8-minute mark right now, and Calallen to downtown sitting at about 14 minutes for you. So wherever you're coming from, wherever you're going to, looking good to head out the door, but don't go anywhere. We've got more news and weather heading your way.
Mr. Jones, appreciate you, sir. So 2 Del Mar College instructors are facing charges after being accused of assaulting and inappropriately touching students at Falfurrias High School. So welding instructors Jose Uribe and Martin Fonseca, they're being charged with assault causing bodily injuries. The Brooks County Sheriff's Office tells us that Fonseca turned himself in but has bonded out of jail. Uribe has not turned himself in yet. So investigators say that Fonseca and Uribe taught dual credit welding over at Falfurrias High School through a dual credit Del Mar College program. They allegedly assaulted some of their students on the school campus. One mother says that her 16-year-old son was assaulted twice in September. Another parent alleges her 16-year-old son was hurt multiple times since the start of the school year. Brooks County ISD tells us that they reported the allegations on September 11th, and both instructors are no longer employed. Del Mar College says it can't comment until the investigation is complete.
Nueces County has successfully recovered the nearly $2 million lost in an apparent phishing scam. As we reported back in August, the county auditor announced that scammers had been able to misdirect county payments through a phishing email. The county says they were able to recover the money with the help of Frost Bank, their bank depository. According to officials, a forensic investigation is still ongoing. New security measures have been implemented by the county in the wake of this incident.
A local state of disaster has been declared as the levels of Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon continue to drop. Beeville city officials have made their message clear.
And now we are just asking, to just restrict even more.
But is it clear enough for residents?
I mean, I'm not trying to narc, but there's still people that water their grass and try to get away with it.
To hear from the community, I set up shop outside the city's post office and met with several residents.
But the people here in Beeville have got a real problem.
And it's sad to see that the city of Beeville really didn't take it seriously and plan ahead.
Are we going to have to drill our own wells? What do we do? Do we go to families that live in the country to get water?
But I don't know what to do about it. We could cut back on our water. I wish there was an easy solution.
Texas voters will soon decide whether to invest billions into dementia research through Proposition 14. If approved, the plan would create a new state fund for cancer, Alzheimer's, and other brain-related research. Prop 14 wouldn't raise taxes, but it would let the state issue bonds to support long-term studies, including research already underway here in the Coastal Bend. Experts say funding like this could help build research teams, develop new treatments, and better understand risk factors, especially in local populations. In Texas, about 11% of people over 65 live with dementia, and that number is even higher in Nueces County at more than 13%. Understanding the facts behind dementia is just the first step. Early voting starts on Monday, October 20th, and lasts 2 weeks. In the Bay Area, I'm your Sunrise Neighborhood News reporter Michaela Chavez, Chris 6 News.
Well, 6:05 a.m. taking a look out there at our USS Lexington Cam. Thanks to First Community Bank, 69 degrees, traffic flowing nice and smooth there. You can see along the bridge. Winds pretty calm this morning for most of us as well, but will pick up as we go through our Thursday. Over the past 10 hours, we have cooled down from 79 degrees last night at 8 p.m. down to 70 degrees by 1 a.m., dropping down to 67 there for just a little bit. Have since warmed up just a slight bit there. 69 degrees is what we're now sitting at here around the 6 a.m. time frame. And as we go through the day ahead, we'll see those climb, but first, right now, plenty of 60s out there. 65 degrees for both Beeville as well as Mathis. The cool spot going to be Hebbronville as well as San Diego coming in at 63 degrees. 70s along the coast, though. 78 in Port Aransas, that warm spot. 70 in Ingleside and 74 for the Naval Air Station out there with more of that water just heating the air a little bit, I should say, or mitigating that cool down. For current winds, like we said, most of us sitting pretty calm this morning. Variable winds around the area from about 0 to 5 miles an hour, but as we go through the day, we'll roughly see these out of the east-southeast pushing inland, and that's also going to drive some of that moisture and some shower chances. But first, you might be thinking about taking the pup for a walk today. Let's take a look. We've got Max today ready to go out and about heading for a walk. So how are those temperatures going to shape up? Well, 76 degrees by 9 a.m., 82 by 11 a.m., 83 by noon, and you can see isolated showers at best. Our models aren't even putting it on the board there, but can expect those partly cloudy skies at the very least. And I do think we do see some scattered showers, so you could bring the umbrella if you want to be safe. Wind-wise, gonna, like we said, pick up out of the east-southeast about that 10-mile-an-hour mark by the lunchtime time frame. For the current Doppler radar, clear skies out and about for the Coastal Bend right now and Corpus Christi. So looking at the future tracker, this is where we could see that east-southeast wind bringing in some isolated to scattered shower activity as we go through our day through that lunchtime time frame. Then it starts to clear out a little bit, at least by the dinner time frame. That's where I think we start to see our very last showers out and about, and through the overnight hours, sitting high and dry out there. So plenty of clear skies tonight, but we might see another round on the way tomorrow. But even with all these chances, rain totals, how much we're going to pick up, not looking so promising in through the next 7 days, just sitting in those tenths of an inch or so, but we need 10 inches to make up for where we are currently for 2025. So throughout the next 7 days, you can expect daytime highs going from those 80s up into the 90s. A weak cold front there by Sunday drops overnight lows from the mid-70s back down to about 70 degrees with a couple chances of rain there on the board, but mainly by next week into Wednesday as well.
Stephen, thank you so much. Hey, if you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, coming up after the break, we have a preview of this weekend's 77th annual Shrimperie.
Hey, welcome back, folks. So the largest shrimp festival in Texas is coming to your neighborhood this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Shrimperie is celebrating its 77th year in Aransas Pass tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. To give us a rundown of the event, we have a familiar face, Mr. Roland Rodriguez, the Public Information Officer for the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, South Texas. It's good to be back. I feel like I've been here before, but it's fun to be back, and I'm excited about this weekend. 3 days of fun and shrimp. That's a winning combination if you think about it.
Right? Exactly. And I know there's more than just shrimp going on, right? You got live music, you got vendors. Tell us what to expect.
So if you've never been to Shrimperie, expect nonstop fun for 3 days. This is an event, like you said, we're going to have live music on Friday. We have Louis the Singer, up and coming. Apparently he's a big thing. I thought it was a big thing. No, this guy is a big thing. We have the Chad Cook Band. And then on Saturday, our headliner headliners are AJ Castillo and Ricky Naranjo and Los Gamblers. And on Sunday, we have AC/DC, the tribute band. That's for the live music. And of course, we have other entertainers performing pretty much all weekend long from noon till midnight on the different stages, the HEB stage and also the Whataburger stage. And this gives them a chance to kind of showcase their talent as well, like the Rockaholics or the John Cortez band. And that's the entertainment. Then you said we have carnivals, we have petting zoos, we have a kid zone for the kids. And of course, we have a big parade on Saturday. Before the parade, we have an outhouse race. And we also have contests like the famous or infamous shrimp eating contest. That starts at 1 o'clock at the HEB tent. And then we have something that you guys could probably be really interested in. And I was banned because I won it like three years in a row, so now I just MC it. We have the men and women's sexy legs contest. So I'm saying, guys, this could be right up y'all's alley. You gotta be like the first married couple to win this.
I saw you checking out my legs. So.
Well, I'm a little bashful now. Thanks for calling me out there. And we also have bingo. So we have something for the entire family. Of course, we have shrimps galore. You name it, we have it. Shrimp on the stick, tacos, gumbo, whatever you can imagine, we're selling it out there.
Awesome. And hey, this goes for a great cause too. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into this a bit later on in the show. Thank you so much for being here. We'll check back in with you in just a little bit.
I'll try not to look at your legs.
Oh, yeah. We appreciate that. And now on to the weather. Make sure it's going to be sunshine and rainbows this weekend.
Well, that is absolutely sounding like a wonderful event to get out there to. But of course, right now, still got to get through our Thursday, 6:14 a.m. Good morning there, Coastal Bend. Live look at Snoopy's Pier thanks to Matthews CCAC, 74 degrees. But those winds pretty calm and traffic flowing nice and smooth this morning. Getting a good look in our neighborhoods across the Coastal Bend. Plenty of 60s and a few 70s out there. 65 in Beeville, same for Alice as well as Kingsville. The cool spot, Hebronville right now, 64 degrees. And those 70s coming in at Port Aransas, 78 degrees, 74 over at the Naval Air Station. Visibility not too rough this morning. The low was going to be about 5.9 miles there in Beeville, so not too bad as you're heading out the door. Winds also pretty calm for most of us. As we're planning out our Thursday, you can see 76 by 9 a.m. Those winds also shifting from the north to out of the east-southeast, about 5 to 10 miles an hour, 10 to 15 as we head into the afternoon. A few isolated showers this morning into early afternoon that I'm on the watch for, and then as we go into about that dinner time frame, that's where everything starts to clear out and those temperatures come down as well. Daytime highs to be expected about that 88 degree mark is what I'm calling here in Corpus Christi, and we could expect that for about the next 6 to 10 days. Plenty of above average temperatures at least, likely persisting through Tornado Alley and the central United States. Normal conditions for the East Coast and West Coast right now, at least. Nothing cool out there, but hopefully we can see some more rain working in. We were looking at the almanac earlier. We have officially passed today the 10-inch mark, shy in terms of rainfall where we're supposed to be for 2025. And right now the radar not looking promising that it's going to pop up, but the models do think that we're going to see a little bit, and I can agree with these, seeing just a little bit of that isolated to scattered shower activity working in by 8 to 9 a.m. even going into that lunchtime time frame is what I'm watching for. Although you see just a lot of greens on the map, not a lot of those yellows and reds. So downpour wise, washouts in terms of that, definitely not looking at anything serious in terms of those rainfalls coming down really hard, but just a little bit of isolated shower activity. So you can see, keep the umbrella handy if you want to, just to be on the safe side. As we go into the evening, that's where everything clears out, and we go into the overnight hours, clearing out pretty nicely as well. That's going to allow for some good radiational cooling. Unfortunately, not going to see the 60s likely for the morning. We'll get down to about that 70 degree mark, so not going to be too bad as we're heading out and starting our Friday. So planning out the rest of your Thursday, you can see where those winds are going to really start to shift out of the east-southeast going into the afternoon. That's what I'm on the watch for, but not too gusty either. Going to be nice and just a nice little breeze out there. So keeping us cool, but not quite feeling like fall yet. You saw the 6 to 10 day outlook and the 7-day forecast showing you pretty much the same thing with those above average temperatures rising up into the lower 90s by this weekend. Plenty of sunshine for that event that we're heading out to there. Overnight lows in those 70s, and a weak cold front drops us to about those upper 60s by Sunday night into Monday.
Well, to paraphrase Pauly Shore, if you want to munch on some grindage, you're probably going to want to make sure that they're keeping it clean. I'll have the latest scores from the Sadie County Health Inspector in this week's Kitchen Cops after the break.
Now, your Chris 6 Kitchen Cops Report.
Welcome back, folks. Well, it is only my second week as the head of Kitchen Cops, and it's been so informative seeing who's keeping it clean and who might need to clean it up. Luckily, there's some more positives on this week's list, but there are a couple you might need to know about. Here's a list from the City County Health Inspectors for the week of October 6th through the 10th.
Now, let's start off on a personal note. 3 years ago, when Michelle and I first moved to the Coastal Bend, our first date night out was a little place called Bo's Korean Barbecue. And so it's my pleasure to be handing out a Kitchen Cops badge for a perfect score.
Woo! 3 times, yeah, Bo Barbecue.
In case you haven't been, they do things a little different than a regular restaurant, as you are presented with raw meat and veg that you cook yourself on a skillet built into the table. And did I mention it's all you could eat? If you want to check them out yourselves, they're on SPID and Airline. Big congrats to Bo Korean Barbecue for keeping it clean. Also on this week's perfect score list, First and 10 Sports Bar on SPID, Proveco on Staples, Mazzafiato on Staples, and Popeyes on Greenwood. Caribbean Kitchen on Shoreline, Honey Baked Ham and Cafe on Airline, Hester's Cafe on Lamar Park, and Champ's South Texas Meat Markets on Northwest Boulevard. And parents, check this out. We have a bunch of school cafeterias with perfect scores too. Thanks for keeping it clean for our kiddos. Now for those who need to clean things up on our B list. Las Espuelas on SPID with a score of 89 with 7 violations, including needing to thaw sausage properly and remove dust and spider webs from the walls and front area above tea machines. Restaurant San Miguel, that's on Staples Street with a score of 89 with 6 violations, including eggs being left out at room temperature and food stored on the floor of a walk-in cooler. Faux de Noodle House on SPID with a score of 87 with 6 violations for things like storing raw products above ready-to-eat foods, leaving chicken out in room temperature. And on to the low score of the week goes to Taco Rico and Rico's Catering on Greenwood with a score of 78 for 11 different violations, including food with no cover, label, or expiration date, and missing a bunch of food handler cards, as well as dirty refrigerators.
Well, of course, this week's list doesn't just stop there, folks. There's a lot to it. If you want to see if your favorite chow hall is on that perfect list or the one that needs a little bit of work, head on over to our website. That's KrisTV.com.
Well, good Thursday morning, 6:23 a.m. A good look at our USS Lexington camp thanks to First Community Bank. You can see the harbor bridge there. Not too much traffic on it, and the traffic that is flowing nice and smoothly. So probably good and green on the harbor bridge this morning as we look out there at all of our roadways around Corpus Christi. No major slowdowns right now, so let's take a more in-depth look here at the harbor bridge. Yes, good and green both ways, whether you're heading to or from Portland this morning. For here in Corpus Christi, Ocean Drive, no major slowdowns. SPID and Ennis-Jocelyn both looking good. Crosstown Expressway also just a small slowdown there on Saratoga over near the Crosstown Expressway to keep in your mind if you're going to be going that way. Over towards Flower Bluff, not too bad on Flower Bluff Drive. A minor slowdown there on Waldron Road to keep in mind, as well as the normal slowdown near the gates at the Naval Air Station. Some of those drive times for you this morning sitting at 23 minutes from downtown to the island, 8 minutes to get to downtown from Portland, and to downtown from Cal Island takes you about 14 minutes right now. So good and green everywhere you're headed, wherever you're coming from, wherever you're going to. Of course, that's all for your traffic report, but don't go anywhere. We'll talk about those rain chances coming up in weather.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Well, 6:26 a.m., 69 degrees out there. Taking a look at Snoopy Skycan thanks to Matthew CCAC. Just a nice view out there, pretty calm waters. A couple of early boaters out there and early drivers as well. Traffic flowing nice and smooth across most of the coastal bend this morning. And of course, temperature-wise, most of us sitting in those 60s this morning. 70s closer to the coast is what we were seeing a little bit ago. Of course, dew points as well. Plenty of moisture. At least it's not the oppressive air you can wear, but all of us in the 60s right now. 67 for Port Aransas, 69 at the Naval Air Station, 68 here in town. A little drier inland, 62 for Beeville as well as Orange Grove out there, 64 in Alice right now for those dew points. And temperatures pretty close, so that's why the humidity is so high right now, but luckily not seeing too much in terms of fog. 63 degrees out there, the cool spot for San Diego as well as Hebbronville. And like I said, those 70s closer to the coast, 78 there in Port Aransas, 74 for the Naval Air Station Rockport, coming in at 71 degrees this morning. If you're planning on taking the pup for a walk today, day. We've got Max here as our pup of the day, ready to go on a walk out there. So how are temperatures shaping up? Well, entering the 70s and 80s, 79 by 10 a.m., 82 by 11 a.m., maybe a couple showers trying to work in, especially from that 9 to 11 a.m. time frame I'm on the watch out for, but not heavy downpours. So just keep the umbrella handy in case you want to be safe wind-wise. Pretty calm this morning, going to be out of the east-southeast as we head towards lunch and the early afternoon, about that 10 to 15 mile an hour mark. Feels like temperature-wise going to be going into the 90s. Daytime highs probably about 88 degrees is what I'm calling for Corpus Christi, but that humidity, the dew points in the 60s, going to drive it up slightly to about 90 degrees or maybe even those lower 90s for the feels like daytime highs before we start that nightly cool down, of course, back into the 70s and potentially even the 60s by tomorrow morning. Of course, let's talk about what's going on here across the coastal bend. The big weather picture out there, you can see this wrinkle of low pressure along the coast. This is what's going to provide a lot of that lift for some of the moisture that's working onshore this morning and into today, providing that what it needs to get some of that rain shower activity going. Unfortunately, not seeing it on the Doppler radar right now, but the Futurecast does have it on there. You can see 7, 8, 9 a.m. where we really see the development of some of this isolated shower activity starting to enter the coast and push more inland as we go through the morning and those early afternoon hours. As we go towards the later afternoon and about dinner time, things look to clear up, just leaving some partly cloudy skies in its wake for mainly our inland communities as well. Going into the overnight hours, not expecting too much rain, but by tomorrow morning, the models do want to indicate another round on the way, so we're looking out for that as well. Hour by hour today, getting into those 80s by lunchtime. Like we said, the winds also picking up 10 to 15 miles an hour as we go through the afternoon to watch out for, with that daytime high anywhere from about 88 to 89 degrees. So looking like a pretty good Thursday as we're doing this, what we like to call it the Friday Junior. So getting ready for a pretty good Thursday. And throughout the next 7 days, rain chances, we do need about 10 inches of rain. And our rain chance is just not quite going to do it for us. Hopefully we can pick up even just a good half of an inch as we go through the week ahead. But right now, just going to be isolated at best and no washouts on the board. But we do have those weak chances today and tomorrow, while daytime highs go into the 90s this weekend. Just looking like a beautiful weekend to head out there to Aransas Pass. Overnight lows in the 70s all week with that next chance of rain on the board by next Wednesday.
Stephen, thank you so much. So Aransas Pass will be boiling with excitement with Shrimpery scheduled to take over this weekend. Coming up after the break, we have a preview of its 77th annual celebration.
Welcome back, friends. So the biggest shrimp party in Texas is coming back, and it is taking over Aransas Pass this weekend.
That's right. Shrimpery is serving up some shrimp music and some nonstop fun. But to tell us what else we can expect, we have a familiar face, Mr. Roland Rodriguez, the Public Information Officer for the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here. I'm excited about this weekend, and I hope to see you guys there. It's amazing. People don't realize that the Aransas Pass was labeled the shrimping capital of the world back in the 1930s.
Wow!
And after that, a Shrimpery Festival was born to honor the shrimpers, the family, and the community that helped Aransas Pass grow. And 77 years later, we're continuing that tradition in Aransas Pass. So just fun fact.
That is fun. And you know what else is fun? The fact that we have all of these different activities, but it's all going towards awesome causes. Can you talk to me a little bit about where some of the money's going to?
So every T-shirt, every ticket, every shrimp dish that we sell, it makes a huge difference because all the proceeds go from the Shrimpery go right back into the community for scholarships, local programs, events like the Shrimpery to help Aransas Pass to continue to thrive. And we could not do this event without our sponsors like Thomas J. Henry, Whataburger, L&F Distributors, Lamar Advertising, HEB, Whataburger, as I mentioned. But those just to name a few. But we could not also do it without volunteers. It takes, get this, more than 300 volunteers for this 3-day event to run smoothly. And if someone wants to volunteer, we're still accepting them. Give us a call at the Chamber of Commerce at 361-758-2750. You'll get a 3-day pass, and you'll make some great friends, and you'll make some great memories. But this event cannot be done without our CEO, Rosemary Vega, and her executive board, because they work tirelessly hours to make this event. So the 76th annual, once it was done, they're working on this year to make sure that's even better than last year. So a lot of folks, a lot of moving parts go into this, but it's a community event. So with the partnership of the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce, the City of Aransas Pass, and the community, if we don't work together, this event would not be possible. But like I said, all the proceeds go directly back into our community, and anywhere from 12 to 15 nonprofit organizations, they benefit as well. So these nonprofits like the Lions Club, churches, and the school district, they make the shrimp dishes, they park the cars, and all the money they make, they keep. So we keep all the proceeds right there in the community.
Some good stuff, Roland. Thank you so much for
You
being
bet.
here. And
Thank you,
folks,
guys.
like we said, a lot's going on. Shrimp, live music, carnival, all kinds of fun. Make sure you go to our website, christv.com, for all the information you need to know about the Shrimpery Festival.
We'll see you out there.
Well, that is sounding like a wonderful event to get out to this weekend if you're looking for something to do. Of course, still got to get through our Thursday. Good morning, Coastal Bend. Looking out there, 6:36 a.m., October 16th. 69 degrees out here at the USS Lexington Cam, thanks to First Community Bank. Of course, also getting a look at our currents in your neighborhood this morning. Plenty of 60s. Also 78 degrees there is the warm spot right now in Port Aransas. 74 at the Naval Air Station. 71 in Rockport. And the cool spot going to be Hebronville coming in this morning at 64 degrees. Winds also pretty light, only seeing 7 miles an hour there in Kingsville, and visibility's also not looking too bad out and about this morning. So planning out your Thursday for you here in Corpus Christi, 86 degrees by 2 p.m. with maybe a little bit of morning shower activity. Daytime high is going to be going up towards that 88 or 89 degree mark before we start that nightly cool down into the 70s. And of course, wind's going to peak there about 10 to 15 miles an hour out of the east-southeast. That's going to be all for now, but don't go anywhere. I'll talk about that full 7-day forecast coming up in just a bit.
Now, 20 minutes of non-stop news, sponsored by Ewald Kubota.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our 20 minutes of nonstop news with the Hoffmans. I'm Brian Hoffman.
And I'm Michelle Hoffman. Of course, we have plenty of neighborhood news for you guys this morning. But first, let's check in with meteorologist Stephen Jones. He has a look at the roadways. Good morning, Stephen.
Well, good morning, Brian and Michelle. Looking like a pretty good day out there. And I mean, we were just talking about it. Shrimpery looking great for this weekend, right? You guys excited for it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, but looking at those roadways out there, the SPID Skycam looking pretty good right now out there. 69 degrees, 6:41 a.m. Traffic flowing nice and smooth out there on it. Might see it start to pick up just a little bit as we head through these next few hours. Getting a good look at the rest of the roadways around Corpus Christi this morning. Pretty good right now along the Harbor Bridge is what we're watching for out there. Not too much rain on the roadways either, so not going to be slowing down that traffic out and about this morning as we're looking at some of the roadways. Nice and green is what we're expecting for some of that traffic that you can expect. Taking a look out there, just looking like a pretty good day as you're heading out and about. Here's a look at the Harbor Bridge and some more of those roadways in Corpus Christi. Like I said, the Harbor Bridge, good and green. Ocean Drive as well as SPID and Saratoga. The Crosstown Expressway, not too bad either. Over towards Flower Bluff, nothing major right now on Flower Bluff Drive or Waldron Road, just that normal slowdown as you approach the Naval Air Station, Corpus Christi, and some of those drive times for you this morning, sitting anywhere from 8 to 23 minutes wherever you're headed, wherever you're going. Good and green heading out the door this morning, but don't go anywhere. More news and weather heading your way.
Stephen, appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. So 2 Del Mar College instructors are facing charges after being accused of assaulting and inappropriately touching students over at Falfurrias High School. The welding instructor Jose Uribe and Martin Fonseca, they were both charged with assault causing bodily injury. The Brooks County Sheriff's Office tells us that Fonseca turned himself in but has bonded out of jail. So Uribe has not turned himself in yet. Investigators say Fonseca and Uribe taught dual credit welding over at Falfurrias High School through a dual credit Del Mar College program. They allegedly assaulted some of their students on the school campus. One mother says her 16-year-old son was assaulted twice in September. Another parent alleges that her 16-year-old son was hurt multiple times since the start of the school year. Brooks County ISD tells us that they reported the allegations on September 11th and both instructors are no longer employed. Del Mar College says it can't comment until the investigation is complete.
Now, folks, we have plenty of neighborhood news to get to this morning, from Beeville neighbors reacting to the city's water situation to the announcement of the new head coach for the Corpus Christi Football Club. We have you covered in your neighborhood check-in.
A local state of disaster has been declared as the levels of Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon continue to drop. Beeville city officials have made their message clear.
And now we are just asking, to just restrict even more.
But is it clear enough for residents?
I mean, I'm not trying to narc, but there's still people that water their grass and try to get away with it.
To hear from the community, I set up shop outside the city's post office and met with several residents.
But the people here in Beeville have got a real problem.
And it's sad to see that the city of Beeville really didn't take it seriously and plan ahead.
Are we going to have to drill our own wells? What do we do? Do we go to families that live in the country to get water?
But I don't know what to do about it. We could cut back on our water. I wish there was an easy solution.
I'm Tony Jaramillo, your neighborhood news reporter in Flower Bluff. Corpus Christi City Councilors passed the first vote to rezone this property for multifamily and small commercial use. The goal, city leaders say, is to bring more housing and neighborhood businesses. But I'm learning not everyone is on board. This letter came in the mail for Andrew Hill earlier this month. It's a public hearing notice to rezone about 10 acres right past his backyard on Glen Oak Drive. Andrew Demas with Development Services tells me about 25 single-story duplexes and roughly 5 to 7 commercial spaces could be built.
I can't really see anything good coming out of this development for the citizens here.
I brought up some of this pushback to Demas.
I want them to be rest assured that we will be looking out for them. We're not going to put anything that's going to put lives in jeopardy or their property values in question.
City councilors are expected to have a final council vote on October 21st. In Flower Bluff, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Tony Jaramillo, Chris 6 News.
Meet new head coach Ayman Zayed. He's only been in the Coastal Bend for 2 days, and he's already laying the groundwork to build a team from scratch. The Ireland native brings years of international experience, having played professionally across Europe, Africa, and the U.S. With Zayed and the Sharks gearing up for their first professional season, fans say they're ready for what's next. Zayed says tryouts begin next month, and he's looking for players who show heart, character, and commitment on and off the field. Assistant coach Manuel Iwabuchi says he can already picture opening day, a packed stadium, music, energy, and Corpus Christi soccer on the national stage.
Well, 6:46 a.m. out there this morning, taking a live look at Snoopy's Pier. Thanks to Matthew CCAC. 74 degrees out there at Snoopy's, 69 degrees here in downtown Corpus Christi, so about 5 degrees from here to there. Of course, getting a good look at our almanac data from our Wednesday, just above average for daytime highs, 89 degrees, above 85 degrees, but morning lows also below average, coming in at 63 compared to that 66 degree average. Above the record, 47 degrees is where we were at back in 1978, and today officially have passed the 10 inches shy of rainfall mark for where we're supposed to be for this time in 2025. So still on the lookout for some more rain, and could see a little bit through the next 6 to 10 days, at least what we're supposed to see. In terms of the past 10 hours, we've seen a decent cool down. 79 degrees last night, 73 at 11, 67 degrees at 2 a.m. this morning, has since came up just a little bit back to 69 degrees. That's kind of where we're holding for now before we start that daily warm up once the sun comes up here in just a little bit. For the rest of our neighborhoods, sitting at 65 for Beeville as well as Mathis. The cool spot going to be San Diego as well as Hebronville, coming in at 63 and 62 degrees respectively. Along the coast, seeing those 70s, 78 in Port Aransas, feeling like 80, 71 up there in Rockport this morning as we're heading towards the 7 a.m. hour. For the forecasted highs throughout the next 10 days, going to remain above average. We do see a decent drop, though. We are well above average through about Tuesday, and then going into Wednesday and the back half of next week. That's where we see temperatures closer to where we're supposed to be, and we're supposed to be 85 degrees right now, but I'm forecasting 88, 89 degrees, and as we go through the next few days, only going to slowly crawl up as we see this high pressure overhead for a lot of the central United States. Before Texas also, at least near the surface as well, we do have this little bit of low pressure right along the coast, bringing in just enough lift, and we do have the moisture in place that's going to cause some isolated shower activity into the coastal bend as we go through our morning hours and even into the early afternoon. For right now, the Doppler radar showing you clear skies from north to south, east to west as well, including here in Corpus Christi. Futurecast, this is where things start to shape up into the next few hours, that isolated shower activity. So keep the umbrella handy if you want, just to be safe. Not going to be any major downpours or washouts as we go towards the later afternoon and dinner time frame. That all looks to clear out before we go into tomorrow morning, and then maybe another round on the way as we go into tomorrow morning. But in terms of totals, looking pretty minimal at that. Throughout the next 7 days, showing you daytime highs rising from the upper 80s to the 90s, overnight lows holding in those 70s with another decent shot at rain coming into the area by next Wednesday.
I'm Michaela Chavez, your Sunrise Neighborhood News reporter. Next month, Texas voters will weigh in on a plan to put billions into dementia research. I spoke with local experts about dementia, how it affects local families, and why understanding it matters. In Texas, about 11% of people over 65 live with dementia, and that number is even higher in Nueces County at more than 13%, according to the Alzheimer's Association. Dementia isn't just about memory loss. It's a term used to describe a range of symptoms that affect how a person thinks, remembers, and functions day to day.
Impairment with memory, thinking, even the ability to care for oneself, and it can also cause personality changes.
The most common cause is Alzheimer's disease, which makes up about 60 to 80% of dementia cases. And while it affects the individual, it also takes a serious toll on families.
Over time, the patient becomes unable to essentially care for themselves, and it puts a huge financial burden and emotional toll on these patients and their families.
She says long-term research funding is crucial, and that's where Proposition 14 comes in. If approved, it would create a new state fund for cancer, Alzheimer's, and other brain-related research, investing up to $1.5 billion over the next several years.
When you have something such as sustainable funding that can allow researchers to build those teams and come up with these treatment plans and hopefully prevention strategies.
Prop 14 wouldn't increase taxes, but it would let the state issue bonds to support research, including studies happening right here in the Coastal Bend. Genetics and lifestyle play a role, and local research is helping experts understand those factors even more.
Currently, we have research that's focusing on the prevalence of dementia in our Mexican American population compared to our non-Hispanic adult population.
Understanding the facts behind dementia is just the first step. Early voting starts on Monday, October 20th, and lasts 2 weeks. In the Bay Area, I'm your Sunrise Neighborhood News reporter Michaela Chavez, Chris 6 News.
Now, 6 things to know before you go.
Top economic leaders from around the world are in Washington, D.C. today for a high-stakes meeting. Finance minister and central bank governors from the G20 are gathered to discuss global inflation, debt stability, and economic recovery. The group is also expected to address financial pressures tied to global conflicts and ongoing supply chain disruptions. The gathering is the last of its kind before the Leaders Summit in November, hosted by South Africa.
President Trump has signed an executive order aimed to ensure that federal agency hirings align with his administration's agenda. The order gives oversight to presidential appointees and continues a federal hiring freeze that's been in place since he took office. Wednesday's order also directs agencies to establish strategic hiring committees of senior agency leadership to approve the creation of jobs or filling of vacancies and to prepare annual staffing plans. It's the president's latest effort to overhaul the federal workforce. All federal hiring must comply with a merit hiring plan that the Office of Personnel Management released in May.
Ben's Original is recalling a limited number of its products because they may contain small stones. The recall applies only for its whole grain brown, long grain whites, and long grain and wild ready rice products. They all have a Best Buy date of August of 2026. The recalled products were sold at H-E-B, Target, and Amazon. The company says that they may contain small, naturally occurring stones from the rice farm. If consumed, consumed, the stones could pose a risk of oral or digestive tract injury. The company says no illnesses or injuries have been reported so far.
Nueces County has successfully recovered the nearly $2 million lost in an apparent phishing scam. As we've reported back in August, the county auditor announced that scammers had been able to misdirect county payments through a phishing email. The county says they were able to recover the money with the help of Frost Bank, their bank depository. According to officials, a forensic investigation is still ongoing. New security measures have been implemented by the county in the wake of this incident.
The city of Corpus Christi is still accepting applications for its minor home repair program. The program will provide 35 individuals with grants up to $25,000 for essential home repairs. Applications are open to very low-income seniors, people with disabilities, veterans, or veterans' surviving spouses. You can fill the application out online at cctexas.info or stop by La Retama Central Library for assistance. Applications will be accepted until Tuesday, October 21st.
Big changes have been made to one of downtown's busiest streets. 7 traffic signals along Mesquite Street have been changed to flashing red, and that means all of Mesquite Street intersections from John Sarton Street to Taylor Street are now always stops. The change went into effect this morning, and the city says this change is part of a planned transportation maintenance and improvements for the downtown.
All right, folks, on to what is trending now. Nutella lovers like myself will eat the chocolate hazelnut spread. And pretty much anything. I can attest to that too. Nutella and carrots, very good. But hey, they'll soon have a new way to enjoy the beloved product, Nutella ice cream. It promises to deliver the unmistakable taste of Nutella with swirls of Nutella in every bite, according to a press release. So parent company Wells Enterprises also announced a new Kinder Bueno frozen treat coming to U.S. stores soon. The company is set to begin shipping these 2 new frozen treats to convenience stores on December 1st with a broader retail distribution planned for spring of 2026.
I'm realizing I actually don't think I've ever tried Nutella.
What?
Yeah, but I like the concept and like the idea of it, but I don't think I've ever.
Chocolatey spread is good, and yeah, I substitute it out on my PB&Js every once in a while. It's a Nutella and J.
So what would make this different though than chocolate ice cream?
Hazelnut.
You can taste.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You definitely taste the hazelnut in there, and Nutella is unmistakable. Like that taste, it doesn't taste like anything else. Are you a Nutella fan?
I'm a fan. It's been a while since I've had it. You know, I'm not like a major fan, but I have had Nutella. So ice cream. I was going to ask the same thing as you, Michelle. Though, is it much different than chocolate ice cream? But I think there'd be a there'd be a difference there, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I love my hazelnut creamer, but it doesn't hold a candle to that Nutella.
All right. Well, we need to mark the calendars then. Definitely, we got to try that out for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But of course, first, got to get through our Thursday today and get to this weekend. I mean, Shrimpery looking like a pretty good event to head out there for. So taking a good look at our USS Lexington cam right now, thanks to First Community Bank, 67 degrees out there and winds pretty calm right now. Traffic flowing smoothly along the Harbor Bridge as well. Getting a good look at our temperatures out and about 70s along the coast, 78 there in Port Aransas. A lot of us in the 60s though, coming in at 67 here in town, 63 in San Diego, and the cool spot, the winter, going to be 62 over in Hebronville this morning. Similar to a lot of mornings, the coolest spot out there, and lots of 60s inland, 70s closer to the coast thanks to that water mitigating the cool down of our overnight spread. Of course, looking at the dog walking forecast, we've got Max here today, our pup of the day, of course, ready to go out and about and have a good walk. How are those temperatures going to shape up? Into the 70s and 80s, 70 degrees by 8 a.m., 79 by 10 a.m., pushing into that lunchtime time frame, about 83 degrees, and winds out of the east-southeast as we go through the morning hours and into the afternoon, picking up to about that 10 to 15 mile an hour range as we head into lunch and into the afternoon. So for the current Doppler radar situation, nice and clear right now in terms of most cloud cover and the rainfall out there, especially the future tracker. This is where we could see a little bit trying to work back in through the next few hours, 7, 8 a.m. On the lookout for a little bit of isolated scattered shower activity. So keep the umbrella handy if you want to be safe. Not looking like a major washout or flooding like that, but of course scattered showers through about lunchtime, maybe even into 2 to 3 p.m. By dinner into the overnight hours, or at least